Welcome, María Jimena. Thank you so much for being here at the Hollywood Makers.
Thank you so much for having me and for inviting me, Rossy.
No, I'm so excited because we've had another person from Chicago who's a filmmaker and who's doing his thing. And for me, it was so important to bring someone, no Latina, no woman, because as I think we've spoke, we are all the same. But also someone beautiful, young actress. So I brought someone behind the camera and now you in front of camera.
Thank you.
I'd like for you to tell your story about that. How was it when you were born in this country and then raised in another and then going back and forth? That's really interesting. Tell me.
Yeah, so San Diego and Tijuana, where the little cell that I grew up in, is very singular. I think all border cities are kind of like that they're kind of work at the same time. So I was born in San Diego, I grew up in Tijuana, and then for the first 4 years of my life, I went back and forth. And then as I kept my schooling, we kept going back and forth. So I had to wake up really early in the morning, cross the border, and then go to school in San Diego. But it was a great way to learn English. But it wasn't until I moved to LA that I felt like I knew what American culture was. I was very much still in my childhood Mexican upbringing, for sure.
Wow. And again, I know maybe there are different people that live that type of life, and you were with your dad and your mom and your sister, I think?
Yeah, two sisters, twins.
Two sisters, okay. But then it's so interesting when you said until you came like a teenager or after high school here, was it?
Yeah.
That you moved and you said, I'm going to work in LA or...
Well, I knew that I wanted to get out of Tijuana because there wasn't anything, now there is, but when I was growing up, there wasn't anything really going on. It was just musicals and a lot of experimental theater. There wasn't a lot of film going on. It was very odd, and also my parents were kind of strict at the time, so they wouldn't let me audition for things, and it wasn't until I was 15 and I started getting things for my community theater, and they were like, oh, maybe she does know what she's talking about. And so they let me audition for schools, and I was invited to come study at the Strasberg Theater and Film Institute over on Santa Monica Boulevard in LA, and I was 20 when I came to LA.
That institute, the Strasberg, when you told me, it was like, oh, I know many people, great actresses who have gone there, and so you're the next big thing in Hollywood. But also because I've seen you act. By the way, that's the way I met Maria Jimena in a theater thing, and I approached her at the end and I said, I really want you to be in our podcast. So Jimena, that upbringing, how it impacted your the way you work as an actress?
I think I grew up, it was very interesting because when I was growing up, I did not want to be Mexican at all. I wanted 100% American, and I felt so conflicted because it was like I loved American school and American way of life, and then growing up I started to appreciate and embrace where I was actually from, which is Mexico. And I think the way it has impacted me is that I can see both sides of everything all the time. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, because I am very impartial, I think. I can see the good and bad of everything. And that is a good thing for acting, because you're not supposed to judge your characters and you're not supposed to judge the script. You're just there to tell the story. So that is an exercise of implementing what I grew up with, which is you are neither from here nor there, you just are.
Yeah. Exactly. And just becoming the character, I imagine. So growing up, also, you were doing musicals. Is that the way that you started? And it was in Tijuana, right? How was it that you thought, oh, this is what I like to do?
I first started doing ballet, and then I did every character in the ballets. I was like, I don't want to dance. I'm not a good dancer, but I know that I like to be on stage, so let me just do that. And musicals were a great way to start doing that because I was very interested in the acting side of musicals. I think we forget about the dancing and the singing are center stage, but they also have to act through it all, and they also have to do their part in the story. So it was kind of like I could do what I wanted while I was singing and while I was dancing, knowing that what I wanted to do was act. So it was a great opportunity to explore what I wanted to do, and it also made me feel good because it was a community theater and it was a charity cause. The
Okay.
theater, yeah, the theater company was a charity.
Yeah, tell me more about that because I think that's also another thing that really formed you as an actress, and and it shows you for the causes, but you are contributing in the world with your skills, with your talent. So, how that impacted on that?
I think it made me be a team player because we didn't do it for the money. We weren't getting any money. We were raising money. So it was every time someone had an ego check or like a diva moment, we were all like, okay, we need to remember what this is for, which is the charity. And I think it's very important in every project that you go to, like, this is the story, this is the project, we should focus on that. It made me be very aware that I was just a little tiny gear in the clock that I think sometimes we can forget.
Yeah, and I remember when we met for coffee for the pre-interview. And now more than ever, I think because of AI, which is really a great support, a great tool, but we need to communicate and be, and the new luxury for me is the in-person thing. So we had a coffee chat in person with Maria Jimena, and I remember when you were telling me about growing up being a ballet dancer, and I told you about my daughter and how she explained to me that, mommy, it's because you play basketball that you understand the teamwork. But then you told me that because you were with this theater company that was doing good and you were in a team, that you learned that skill, which is really, really important. And like you said, for actresses, actors, the ego and all these things, right? I really think you have a great vibe, and our podcast in Spanish is about wellness, and Maria Jimena is going to be there because of that. Your vibe is so good. You made it into the industry. You have acted in different places, and you're having a great career right now here in Hollywood. But you acted in Selena in Netflix, in the Netflix series. Tell me about that.
Yes, they were shooting in Tijuana during COVID, and there was this random call for an audition, and I had never been to a large audition. So I went in, I did my little piece. I thought it was going to be for extra work, and then it turned out to be a co-star, which sounds small, but that was really big for me because it was the first Hollywood
Yeah.
production that I'd ever been, and it was still when I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to pursue this or not. And this was like a huge, huge medal that I put here. I was like, Dad, I can do it. I can go to
Yeah.
LA and do movies.
A
Um,
confirmation, right?
yeah, yeah, because my dad and we stopped talking for like 3 months when I told him that I wanted to be an actress because he was like, I don't want you to. I want you to be safe. I want you to be secure. And this career and this industry is anything but. But it was just very important to have that experience. And I got to work with amazing people. And I think because of that, I wasn't intimidated at all when I came to LA. I was nervous. I was excited, but not intimidated because I
Oh, that's
had that
great.
experience. Yeah.
And I think your dad, and this is for all the dads out there and for all the people who say, no,
He's
no,
gonna
no.
hate that I said that.
No, no, no. But I remember I shared with you that my daughter, when she wanted to study writing, screenwriting, I said, it's okay. And she thanked me because she said, this is no warranty anything. And she's working as a creative producer. But you started studying before the Lee Strasberg, right? Some other career?
I was studying business before I did this. I did a year in college and I was like, you know what? I could be content it's like one of those moments where you know you're in the comfort zone.
Mm.
I was like, this isn't inspiring me to do better. And I told my my dad and my mom, both of them are very passionate people. And I told them, like, I see both of you waking up every day excited to work, to see what the day will bring. And I want that. I'm not going to do that if I get into business and I try being something that I'm not. So that was a big moment in my career as well. Just sticking on to what I know was true, which has been working so far.
It has been working, and like I said, I saw you, and I saw a lot of actors, and I approached some of them, and you, because you are doing with your craft something wonderful that the world needs right now. Um, why, when you choose roles, I think you choose them because of our talk with intention. So tell
Mm.
me about that, because I really want to share that to the audience.
Yes, I am, like I said, I am a team player. However, I don't like stereotypes, especially negative stereotypes. I'm very open in communication with my team about the fact that I will read a script, and if I really don't want to audition, I won't. Um, because I think that we already have so much negativity that I don't need to be adding on to it. And because of the charity background that I did, if something doesn't feel right with me, if something doesn't feel like it has integrity, then I'm not interested in it. It makes me feel like I am subtracting instead of adding to things, you know.
That's wonderful, and I thank you for that. So you being here, what is the big difference that you can say, even though you were born here, but you were raised in Mexico, from doing acting there and being in LA?
I don't know because I was very young when I was acting over there, so it was still half representation and half like substitution, which is using your real life and just acting, you know? So I wouldn't necessarily know what the big difference is because I never studied. Like I took classes, but I never studied in Mexico. But definitely at the Lee Strasberg Institute, they teach you the truth is everything. And I think that even in representation, there's truth. You know, you can act really truthfully, or you can be a storyteller really truthfully. I think both have their time and place and project.
Yeah. And like I said in that institute, I think Adri Arjona, Ricardo Arjona's daughter, went there in a lot of Anglo actresses. And so again, you are our next big thing in Hollywood. And just because I see again your craft, I see you acting, I see your light, how you vibrate in and I'm so glad you mentioned your team, your agents, and your managers. And I'm glad that you also choose and those people, because that's the way Papa Dios works, right?
Mm,
Take us to, and the universe is helping us do that thing.
yeah.
You were in other productions, Southern Girls and Icarus Mothers. Tell me about those.
Yes, Southern Girls is set in the Jim Crow South. It's about the civil rights movement, and it tells the story about a group of friends who don't know what racism is until the world teaches them. And it was my first professional theater job in LA, and Zadia Ife, the director, and all of the cast was just amazing. And the Hudson Theater is a pretty big indie theater in the LA scene. And I was very fortunate that that was my first experience ever. I've just been a lucky girl,
Yeah.
honestly, in all of the experience that I've had, but it just made me feel good. It made me feel like I was fighting for what I believe in, which again is the fact that we are all human. We're all living in the same earth, and there are more things that unite us than people think. So it was just a wonderful experience, and there's nothing like live theater. I love being surprised at myself, by the other actors, by the production. I just love watching it. I love being part of it. I think there's a reason why it has survived so many years, honestly,
Yeah.
thousands.
And
Yeah.
I think it's reviving now more than ever because, again, social media and all these things, what AI is doing is really bringing back all of that. And I don't remember if I mentioned to you that Antonio Banderas, he's saying he's doing theater, that he said this is better than Hollywood for me. And again, it's that contact, that interaction also with the audience, right?
Yeah.
Direct contact. And I saw you doing that. What would be your goals? And I know right now Latinos are doing a lot of commercials and doing all of that, and that's good news. And I'm with my Latinidad co-leadership that I have with the TV Academy and with the things
Mhm.
that I do. My biggest goal is to show, yes, because I don't want to complain really, is to show, yes, we haven't had those roles or the stereotypes is mostly what we had on the screen, but we can do it. And this here, they are showing this. The other day I wrote about the Stick series, and I spoke with
Mhm.
the creator, and he said, thank you for promoting this. But I said, no, thank you for including Mariana Treviño and all of this. So again, for me is one, how do you see the market or the industry in commercial, in movies, theater right now?
I think we are in a very exciting time. I think more and more, it doesn't matter if we have so many Latino actors if we don't have so many creatives who are Latinos, writers, directors, producers, because they are the ones that make the decisions. So actors have always been here, and so have the rest of the behind the scenes people. Now we're finally, I think, getting a little bit more of the foot in the door. We're getting our arm and we're getting our shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think we've always known it, but now we're proving that we can tell quality stories that don't necessarily have to revolve around our Latinidad. That's just what we are. But
Yeah.
we can be anything, really.
Yeah.
And I think we are in an exciting moment because there are so many voices that are coming up with such different creative ideas that is going to inspire more people and more people. And I think it's very important, which I hadn't noticed before until I started being in commercials and PSAs and theater. You need to see it to believe that you can do it. You need to see it and acknowledge that this is normal, that this is a fact, that I can do it. For you to have the courage. I think it's easier to have the courage.
Yeah, it's easier to have the courage. For me, it's just doing it. Please fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
Please do
Yeah.
that. Just take the risk. And let's just look at Zoe Saldaña. She's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest paid actress, you know, and she is not because she's a woman, because she's a Latina, it's because her craft. And that's how
Yeah.
I always. Mhm.
And that's another thing. I think you said something very important, which is allow yourself to fail. I think right now, because there are such, now not so much, but before there were such little jobs that they had to be perfect, and we had to be the perfect package representation of Latinidad and the perfect story and the perfect director and the perfect this and that. And it's like we can allow ourselves to give our best and it still not be received by audience as well. And that doesn't mean that we should not be given the opportunity again. That just means we have to try harder.
And see if maybe that wasn't a fit, and then other things are a fit. So yes, I think my goal, and again with someone like you, we can say it here, is like we're just humans, and that's the way that we see the world, right? So don't choose me because I have an accent. I don't have an accent. I'm a woman. I choose me because I can do whatever I can do, the same as you. Maria Jimena, give an advice. You're so young and you're making it in Hollywood, and you're beautiful. And again, I see you like, you know, the next also most paid actress, whatever it is.
Writing it down
So,
in manifestation.
yeah, Papa Dios.
Papa
So,
Dios.
but give, because I think it has been your personality. Again, I will stay here the whole afternoon recording with you, but for me, it has to do with who you are. That's why you're here, because this is what I want to promote. It's so I think anything and everything, and even if, like I said, you fail, you keep going, and your attitude is what's really helping you achieve. But anyway, you are the one with the last words to say, to give an advice to the audience.
I think, and this is very recent actually, but my acting coach, Rossy E, she says that her teacher told her is you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it true. And I think that applies a lot even for life. If something feels right to you in the moment, if something feels true, right, I mean here, not here, then you do it. And this is the thing of like, truthfulness and honesty is a very attractive trait, I think. And this is why we like actors and we like storytellers, because it is a truth. They're telling a truth, or they're hiding a truth. It just has to resonate with you. Every decision that you make, whether it's as a creative person or not, it has to be true to your heart and your soul and what you think you were made for here to do.
Thank you. Oh my God, you gave me chills. You as a storytellers, because that's my thing. We storytellers we are change makers. So it doesn't matter what you do, but you can make the change and making people laugh or something else. So thank you, because you're showing your soul, and like you said, it's from here. And so it's whenever it gives you feel good, happy, that's when it's right there. Maria Jimena, thank you very much for being here at the Hollywood Makers. You're a Hollywood maker, and please keep spreading your craft, your art, and everything that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rossy. It's been a really lovely conversation. I'm really excited to be here.